Hello, everyone. Welcome to bi-weekly meeting for Space City Rocketry on February 7th, 2023. Thank you to everyone showing up in person and also those attending online. We sincerely appreciate your attendance and hope to have a nice meeting filled with humor, updates, I don't know, camaraderie. So on the agenda, we'll go over our usual shout outs. We'll go over our usual shout outs. Then I'll talk a little bit about HeroX and Tripoli and their registration, how you can register for each. Then I'll talk a little bit about manufacturing and specifically what can you do to help out this semester. Next, I'll be talking about the VRBO and the update for where we're at with our housing situation for Spaceport America. Then I'll talk a little bit about the AIAA stickers, which I mentioned in the last meeting. We have some more information to share on that front. We'll go over some brief Spaceport America Cup updates before taking a brief look at our upcoming events for the semester for Space City Rocketry. And then we'll close it off with our sub-team updates as usual. So shout outs for the week. We have a lot. So first, Kevin, Izzy, and the alumni Alex, they were working on payload and did some really good creative problem solving in their lab session. So big shout out to our payload sub team and Alex for helping them out. Also a shout out to Brandon and Structures and the alumni Gustavo. We were working through some stuff on Friday, I guess mainly the practicality of a lot of structures designs. So thinking about if we do something this way, will it work? How does it impact other teams? Things like that. And those conversations always good to have, especially as we're in the midst of ordering a lot of parts right now. A huge shout out to Joe and the media team. If you've been on the Discord recently, there are new Discord emojis. So there's I think my favorite out of the new one is the capybara. Pretty funny, just staring at you. But there's a lot of really good new ones that I know I'm going to be using a lot. So big shout out to them. Another shout out goes to Sam, Raj, and Kurt. They've done a really good job helping the new co-leads, specifically with avionics, having a smooth transition on that front. Big shout out to Carolina and Javier for helping to untangle the great bobbin tangle. I guess my recovery peeps know what's going on there. And Bailey for her loop and magnifying glass. Thank you, Bailey. And thanks for stopping by the lab. Much appreciated. Always good to see you. Gabe had some really great ideas with the antennas, so shout out to Gabe. And then a big shout out to Dr. Kowal. She did not look at me as I walked past her today. So yeah, great. Love it. All right, getting into our main agenda items. First off, registering for HeroX in Tripoli. So HeroX is kind of the media platform that Spaceport chooses to use for all of their Spaceport America Cup related updates. So they'll send out updates to, I guess all the teams are on there and all the team leads. And you can also join HeroX, and I encourage you to. You'll become a part of our official team on there. It's the best way to receive direct updates, as I mentioned, for Spaceport America Cup. So they mentioned things like that Cicerone was having component shortages and that a lot of teams who are looking for an O-class or N-class motor will have to shift down this year, or they'll say, hey, we just updated this section of the rules and requirements document, go take a look, or hey, it's coming close to Spaceport, this is what you should be wearing out in the heat and different things like that. If you do scan the QR code, it should send you to a list to add your email and get registered and get set up with HeroX. So highly encourage all of you to do it. And I think it auto subscribes you to email updates as well, if that's your thing. So if you don't want to keep constantly checking, it'll send you an email every time there's an update. Now moving on to Tripoli. So Tripoli Houston is very different, well, not very different, but different to Tripoli National. They're technically separate entities. And because, I guess, new kind of requirements by Spaceport and Ezra, we have to register for both of them. And Tripoli Houston is now a NAR, or National Association of Rocketry section as well. and we'll have to continue to follow EEE rules when we launch. Not much of a change for us because we are pretty familiar with EEE Houston, especially through hobby rocketry and all of our hobby launches out there at either Hearn or the South site. But just a heads up that we do need to register with EEE National. I know a lot of us are EEE Houston members, but we do need to become national members, especially for the whole band that will be attending Spaceport. So heads up on that, and make sure to get registered on both, and you should be good. All right, next up, just wanted to make a brief mention about manufacturing. So as we get into manufacturing and testing this semester, as parts start to roll in, I think this is a really good opportunity for everyone to learn and make an impact. I know when I first joined the team, the way that I learned the most was by doing a lot of hands-on work. And although that was with structures, I feel like every sub-team, you can really test your knowledge and really improve your knowledge through hands-on work. And I think this is a great opportunity, especially for those who may not have been active as much last semester. If you're still looking to get involved with the team, this is a really good time to. I think it's personally my favorite time being on the team because everyone is either working on something in the lab or trying to come up with a creative solution for one way or another. And as we all know, probably by now, when you think of a design, you think, oh yeah, like this is going to work perfectly. And then you try and actualize it or manufacture it, and you run into a whole bunch of problems. So coming up with solutions for those problems is something that's very valuable, I think, not only on the team, but in the real world. So I encourage all of you, regardless of your major, regardless of the experience that you have, I can guarantee you, you can find a way to make an impact. Some of the ways I think I would recommend to get started is, first off, just ask a bunch of questions. I know Alex is here. When I was structures lead, I think all of our DMs were just me asking him, hey, Alex, what's this? What's this? Like, how do I do this? So feel free to ask as many questions as you can. It really is a good way to learn. There are seriously no stupid questions. I want every sub team to be able to have that safe space for a lot of our newer members to be able to make that impact. And I think asking questions is a great way to get started. Next, I'd say get involved with hands-on work and projects, kind of just as I've been saying. It can be a little easy to take a backseat and say like, oh yeah, y'all can work on that. But if you do want to get involved, then try and take some responsibility for some projects, or say like, hey, yeah, I'll come in and help out on that certain piece that we're going to cut, or these holes that we're going to drill, or anything like that. And one thing that I regret not doing when I first joined was stepping out of my comfort zone. I felt that at a certain point, I was comfortable doing a lot of tasks, but there were definitely some things which I lacked knowledge on, or didn't really have the know-how of like how to do certain things. And I was really scared to branch out into that, just for fail, or I guess fear of failure. But I would say there's really nothing to be scared of. The more you kind of expose yourself to those environments, I think the more successful you'll find yourself. And also, I know it's a great way as we get into manufacturing to be able to get back into the team and really help us out with the myriad of projects we have going on. So know that you can make an impact regardless of your skill level, whatever you think, how good or how bad you are at something. I'm telling you, you can make an impact and you can definitely do it. So get involved, do it. Cool. On more exciting notes, we have an update with our VRBO, and we have officially booked our stay for Spaceport America Cup 2023. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you a link. It'll be a link for the booking, so you can take a look at all the pictures. I tried to include a few here, but it is pretty much this kind of like small house with a really cool living room, TV, nice little kitchen area, a lot of bedrooms. Perhaps most importantly, and shout out to all my Spaceport attendees last year, we have 2 bathrooms this year. Yeah. So for those unaware, we had 1 shower last year to last us the entire week for what, like 15 to 16 people. So yeah, that was a lot of fun figuring out showering times and all those sleeping arrangements. I think Christian's back is actually still messed up from the couch that he slept on. And then Irvin, well, there's a reason why Irvin isn't here. So you can see that. But yeah, there's a lot of room indoors and outdoors, which is really neat because, well, hopefully we aren't at this stage, but if we do have to make these minor adjustments, as we did last year at Spaceport, to different systems, or just get hands-on work done, or even practice assembly, there's a lot of room indoors and outdoors. We don't have to be crammed inside or outside, or hopefully there's good lighting outside as well. But there is a lot of space in the back, and there's some really good views. So if you scan the QR code, take a look at the link. You can see the like back patio area is really nice. It has some views of the like hills and mountains in the distance. So yeah, super excited about that. Big weight off of our shoulders. So thank you to everyone who helped out with that. Next up is AIAA stickers. So it says soon be on sale, but I just received word they are officially on sale. So if you scan the QR code, you can fill out the interest form for them. I can also send the link to this in the Discord later on. This is what they look like. They're about, I don't know, standard hand size. I don't know the dimensions. um, all proceeds will help support AIAA and their project teams in reaching their goals. So for those also aware, UAV is trying to get to competition. Their competition is actually in mid-April, so a lot of their costs are more immediate than ours. So purchasing these stickers will help them out and also obviously help us out with funding and getting all that money to help all of our beautiful projects. So yeah, please fill out the interest form. One sticker will cost $3, or you can get 2 stickers for $5. So on the form, if you say you want 4 stickers, then we'll give you the pricing. And then there's also methods of payment on the interest form for that as well. So help us out, buy a sticker. Looks really cool on your laptop. I think you can see the sticker. There's like a few here. Yeah. Looks really cool. Helps us out. Please buy them. Please be interested. Thank you. All right, next, the Spaceport America Cup update. So not too many updates like a couple weeks ago, but one big thing is that we have our second progress report update due Friday, February 17th. It's due at 5 p.m. Central because Spaceport are little poops about that and not due at midnight. So yeah, these reports are important because we receive a lot of feedback from judges and alumni. They're good preparation for the technical report, which is approaching soon in the distance, looming soon. So really having to start thinking about that, this report should help us out. And it's obviously necessary in order to qualify for Spaceport America Cup. And although it is minor, we are actually scored on these for the actual competition. So a lot of teams have already been, well, everyone has already received a score for the past progress updates that we provided. So the better the quality, the higher our score, and the better we can do at competition. But yeah, Friday, February 17th, keep an eye out. Your leads should be working on that in their labs this week, especially as we're in kind of this dead time of waiting for parts to arrive. Shouldn't be too different to the first progress report update. So yeah, let's get that done and out of the way early so that we don't have to worry about it at the deadline and stress over that. Cool. Lastly, before our sub-team updates, just a few upcoming events. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that we wanted to have a bake sale, and we still would like to sometime on the week of February 20th. So keep an eye out for that. Definitely support us, and it will help us fund all of our projects as usual. If there's anything that you'd like to see us sell in particular, if you have an idea or if you've seen something else that another org has done successfully, please let us know. You can DM any of your sub-team leads or Joe or me. And then also, excitingly, we think we are going to have a paintball social. So we want to gauge some initial interest for that. And you can do so by scanning the QR code if that's something you're interested in participating. Alumni are also welcome. So scan the QR code. But yeah, we'll get back to you once a date and time has been decided, and we'll try and fit it around everyone's exam schedules and a lot of our own deadlines. so that we can get a lot of people out there and have a lot of fun. Yeah, I know y'all are probably tired of hearing me talk. So let's turn it over to analysis for our first sub-team update.
All right. So one task we completed since the last meeting was that we assigned some analysis members to communicate with sub-teams. We did this last semester, but we just, with new members joining or being inactive, we wanted to redo the list. And you can see that on the right. Some of the members might, it might be unchanged, but just keep in touch with these members if you need to communicate with analysis in any way. And as for current tasks, so some of our members are researching zippering and buckling and those effects to see how it could affect the rocket. And one of our members is researching finite element analysis, but in particular using SolidWorks to do that. And another member is creating infographic of avionics, I believe. And just for a better understanding of how the different sub-teams work. And for future tasks, we're just going to continue keeping up to date with changes made to the official design plan. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you, Leo. Thank you, analysis. I know I have a few updates that I want to make to the Open Rocket, so I'll be in touch with y'all regarding some minor changes, but just want to make sure everything is okay on that end. I'll be in contact. Next up is avionics.
Okay, so this week the best sub teams for our completed tasks. We basically got a lot of our documentation for soldering and fume extracting safety. So we have infographics on that. Shoutouts to Jacob and Gabe for doing a lot with that. Also, we know what kind of antenna we were gonna have. We chose a Yagi. That was what suited us the best. For our current task, right now we are trying to prototype and design our PCB schematics. Orlando's on that right now, and right now also the ground station, trying to get that with our XB sensors and seeing how we'll actually try to communicate with the rocket when it's going at like miles per hour and all that. Also, we're also working with Kurt so we can actually get to an antenna building on the Yagi, and also again get our ham radio license before spaceport, and also making more documentation for the antenna because we are still prototyping that. And for future tasks, again, finalize and actually start manufacturing the PCB boards and actually start to build the antenna. So, and again, avionics is awesome. Huge shout outs to Sam and Raj. They're amazing and making it really easy for me and Orlando to actually know what we're doing.
Cool. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, avionics. I know y'all have been hard at work in your lab times, and your lab times are always entertaining and fun to attend. Thank you. Nice ground station. And payload now.
Hi everyone, hope you're having a good week so far. Biggest shout out right now is to Kevin. He's got payload on his back right now, so thank you, Kevin. We just finished our purchase orders for electronics and are finishing up our purchase orders for most materials. We ordered our sensors. I know Kevin finishes L1, I'm finishing my L2. We're hoping to launch in March and test out those sensors, give us enough time in case we need to make any changes. We're continuing our purchase orders for the material for the FECU right now, and then he's going to Micro Center to get our ABS for our prints. Alex came into the lab last week on Wednesday to go over the method of manufacturing and just doing tweaks to our design, which was super helpful. Thank you, Alex. One thing we are going to need is we're looking for machinists that can do it for us. We're ordering a steel tube that's about 3 inches inner diameter, 4 inches outer diameter. We need about 3.75 inches outer diameter. We're gonna need someone with a lathe and a mill. So if anyone has any resources like that, please reach out to us. We did update the design for manufacturing to accommodate the tubes for cooling. So instead of going through the steel, we'll be raising some of the walls through the ABS. And then Brandon came in to lab, and we talked further about having a latch on the airframe for payload. So that should hopefully really help. Very excited for that. Our current tasks are tube pump connection selection for the cooling system. Frankie's been working pretty hard on his design, so thank you, Frankie. We're gonna finalize the electronics layout and holder as those electronics are shipping in. Finalizing the screw lid, Brandon and Kevin have started on that so far. We're gonna detail testing plans, figure out when the best time to get the flies in is and how much ahead of time, I guess, data that we need to collect. And then we're gonna update and revise the statement of work. And then everything else has been here for a little bit just because it's future, but we'll continue working. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Izzy and Payload. I know y'all have been hard at work at determining kind of the final design and material choices for the FECU and FCCU. Yeah. All right, next up we have propulsion. Is it
I'm doing it from online, yeah. So complete task still the same. Oh, the reload was ordered. We made some changes to the motor and finished that. We added spacing for O-rings so that the gas doesn't escape. So currently, Ravi and I talked and we're reorienting the motor goal. So initially it was like supposed to be an L1 motor H class, but because we had lost time in the first semester looking for like a machinist, and now with competition coming up, most of the budget has to go to the COTS equipment. So we're going to aim for an L2 motor, so the J to L class. So without having to change the design completely, it would be to just use a higher level fuel instead of the sugar fuel. So that's what we're working on right now. We're pretty sure that it'll be ammonium perchlorate and with aluminum powder, but we're still looking for binders for the fuel, and that chemical that's underlined, however you pronounce it, is the potential binder. It's used in amateur rockets a lot. It's kind of cheap and is not as toxic as some other ones. So once we decide on a binder, our future task will be to first come up with a safety doc on how to make it. Ravi said there might be a fume hood in the material science lab, and we have to see if they would even let us make it in there. But if we can find a place to make it, then we'll fabricate it and then try model and burn sim how much impulse will add to the motor. And that's it.
Cool. Thank you, propulsion. Super cool to still have the SRAD side of things, especially kind of looking long term for the team. SRAD propulsion is really going to dictate how far SCR goes. So always excited to hear what you guys have going on, and happy to talk with y'all and get that L2 motor hopefully by the end of the semester. But we have recovery with 0 reported incidents. And we have Titus presenting.
All right, so for our completed tasks this week, we've mostly finished the purchase orders. We had Christian and I attended an avionics meeting with Brandon, and we went over how we wanted to go over with manufacturing the recovery and the avionics bulkhead. And so after going over that, we realized, hey, we might need some new E-matches and a new U-bolt to replace to connect both bulkheads. And last Monday, yesterday, we found that we had both the drogue suit and the CO2 canisters. So we're going to be doing some drogue testing, hopefully next Wednesday, assuming that the weather is good. Another thing that we need to still do is we need to finish rewinding the bobbin that we messed up. And future tasks for us are just going over sewing, practicing while we wait for some of that material. But that's after we've gotten the majority of our bulkhead stuff finished.
Thank you, Recovery. Thank you, Titus. Yeah, big emphasis on recovery this year. I think Christian's on my capstone team, and earlier this week we were meeting up to work on a recent assignment, and he shows up to the assignment. He has the audacity to show up with a rubber band around his hand. And I just immediately got so many flashbacks to spaceport. But yeah, big shout out to Recovery. I know I will be there for the drogue testing, obviously weather permitting. Fingers crossed we can like knock that out next Wednesday, not tomorrow. And lastly, we have structures with Brandon.
So for completed tasks, with the help of Robbie, he's been a massive help with our purchase orders for all of our materials and hardware, especially for the order from McMaster-Carr. We spent many hours discussing the screw types and links and stuff we were going to need. So that's all good, and we're going to order that. Hopefully, I guess there's some specifics, but hopefully it'll be in by the end of today, so we can get those in as fast as possible. On the right, you can see the final rail button assembly. We just had to make a few updates to the geometry of the inside to make sure that we can print it on a resin 3D printer. So everything is going pretty well with that. And with the help of Randy, we finalized the hardware that's going to be mounted to the airframe. So he recommended a small weld nut with some protrusions. You can't really see it in that photo, but Randy was a big help for that as well. We also went to the MatSci lab with Dr. Hamami. She gave us a small tour of the facility and some of the machines that we have access to, which is mainly just the tension and compression machine. So hopefully once we get the materials in and we finish our safety procedures document, we can go in there and start testing some of our important assemblies. And yeah, so for current tasks, the safety procedures document, we got a basic outline of everything that we are going to include in there. So hopefully we can get that done by next week or maybe the week after that. But we're not on a huge deadline just because we don't even have our materials in yet. So we're going to work on that. We are going to update the payload and avionics coupler CAD that's on the drive with the most recent changes and hopefully the most final ones. We've been kind of going back and forth on a few different design ideas, but hopefully this one sticks. And like Robbie mentioned earlier, we're going to work with analysis a little bit to make adjustments to the OpenRocket file. With our meeting with Gustavo, he brought up some pretty good points about the geometry of like the motor and stuff like that and just spacing of components. So nothing too crazy, but just minor stuff. And then as always, for the future, manufacturing and testing our composite materials. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, big shout out to Brandon and Structures. I know I've been talking with them a lot this past week, just about really practicality of designs, making some little material tweaks here and there, and trying now to get all of those changes updated in OpenRocket and on CAD. So yeah, excited for structures testing as well. That'll be really exciting. I know we haven't really tested like actual structural materials since like 2020, 2019, around that time. So it's been a while, but it'll be really good now, especially with all of the new designs that we have and new conclusions that we can reach. So yeah, that leads us to the end of tonight's meeting. Do any of you have any questions about anything? Any lab times? What's upcoming? How much time? Question? Izzy said that Payload has a new lab time on Tuesdays, 6 to 8. Obviously today, or when we have our bi-weekly meetings, it'll be 6 to 7, but they do have that secondary time on Tuesday, 6 to 8, in addition to their Wednesday time of 6 to 8 as well. So feel free to show up. Yeah, something I mentioned last week or a couple weeks ago is that now with manufacturing and a lot of crossover between pretty much all of our sub teams, feel free if you're on a sub team to show up to another sub team's lab time, help them out, see what's going on, ask questions, learn. Really good way to start learning more about the rocket as a whole rather than kind of focusing in on your sub team. So would highly recommend. I know we have a lot of busy schedules and I really appreciate all the time that everyone can put into the team already. But if you do find yourself curious, have any questions, or just want to show up, you're free to do so. So yeah, I think I sent the link to all of our lab times in that Google Sheet a couple weeks ago. It shouldn't be too far up in the general chat. So I think you can access it there. Let me check the chat. Raj excited for the 2 showers. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything at all? Yeah, so analysis is mainly looking into it. I've talked with Randy a lot about zipping and buckling. He's not too concerned, and I don't know. I'm not concerned, but it's something I think would be really cool to look at and actually understand. And I know it's definitely applicable across industries, and I guess really in the study of composites as a whole. It's something I'm curious about. I just haven't been able to give.
Particular to composites, or is it just when a screw starts tearing through something?
It's, I guess, technically when the screw starts tearing through something, but because we've only ever launched with fiberglass and zipping effects are much more, what's the word, diverse or different with non-isotropic materials because they react differently, obviously, in different
I
directions.
was wondering because we're going to be connecting the nozzle of our motor with screws from the sides, which is obviously the potential for that.
Right.
So we need to figure out the amount of cross section without screws.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of screw calculators as well that are developed by Analysis last year, and then some modified ones by Structures this year. So I'm sure they can help answer your questions on that front. A dream come true, indeed. Yes. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I hope everyone's still here. AIAA general meeting. I meant to actually put that in a slide. I really apologize. AIAA general meeting this Thursday, 7 p.m. L2D2, also on Zoom. Boeing will be here as a guest speaker. Big opportunity for y'all to talk to Boeing, see what they have to offer. Are we gonna have food?
Yes, there's gonna be pizza.
So this is the funny part, right? Y'all know Frankie? Frankie is currently the secretary of AIAA. And Frankie asked me if we're gonna have food. Yeah, that's great. But yes, we should have food. Right? Frankie?
We're gonna have pizza. Pizza.
Yes, pizza will be provided Thursday, 7 p.m. L2D2. I better see y'all there. SCR has to represent and show up. So come out. It'll be fun. First meetings of the semester are always interesting. So come out. Any other questions lastly before we wrap up? No? Okay, cool. Well, thank you for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Have a good rest of the week. And let me know if you have any other questions or concerns. See y'all.